The first episode of my fan request series has been brought to you by Spicy White Mustard. Doctor Electro here from the Electro Company, and today we're strapping in our emotional hazmat suits for a deep dive into the churning abyss that is Avatar's Bloody Angel. From the 2014 masterpiece, Hell the Apocalypse, track number 5, Bloody Angel isn't just a song, it's a funeral procession painted as a theater, a hymn song for guilt and madness, and a mirror pointed directly at humanity's most violent instincts. Today, we will dissect it as if we ourselves were Avatar. We know the motives, we know the mask, we know the rot beneath the circus paint. Produced by the venerable Tobias Lindell, this track is a masterclass in blending raw aggression with profound lyrical vulnerability. And as Avatar themselves, we're peeling back every layer, every intention, every sonic whisper. We're going full overanalysis because with a band like Avatar, anything less would be a disservice to the artistry of the king and his loyal subjects. Chapter 1. The Context. Avatar's World of Theatrical Metal. Before we plunge into the blood-soaked verses, let's recalibrate our understanding of Avatar. This isn't just a band, it's a living, breathing theatrical entity. Think less of a band, more of a touring heavy metal performance art trope. They're masters of world building, much like the strategic lore and branding you might see in other epic sagas. For them, every riff, every lyric, every blood-curdling scream serves a larger narrative. It began in Molno, Sweden. In 2001, these 5 pioneers, Johannes Eckerström, Jonas Kungen Jarlsby, Tim Årström, Henrik Sanderlin, and John Alfredson, didn't just play melodic death metal, they became a spectacle. Their identity is woven into circus theatrics, grotesque face paint, and narratives that turn each album into a new chapter of their evolving mythology. This brings us to our 2014 manifesto, Hell the Apocalypse. In the eye of that storm sits Bloody Angel, a song that wrestles with guilt, regret, and the inescapable weight of one's actions. On the surface, it's the story of a man haunted by his past deeds, calling out to a vengeful figure for release. But its true inspiration lies in historical horrors, like a Soviet labor camp officer grappling with the blood on his hands. Our ringleader, Johannes, has said it's about the futile search for blame looking around to pinpoint it on somebody, anybody, only to find it staring back from a mirror. So, when we analyze Bloody Angel, we're not just looking at words on a page, we're dissecting a fragment of a much grander, darker, and more beautifully twisted universe. This track, in particular, encapsulates their ability to fuse bone-crushing brutality with an almost operatic sense of drama and profound emotional weight. Intriguing, right? But how does that resonate with your own hidden regrets? Chapter 2, Verse 1, The Weight of Witnessing. We open not with a bang, but with a weary sigh, a suffocating question that sets the tone for the entire piece. This is where the torment begins, building like a slow-burning fuse. Sonically, it kicks off with the chugging guitar riffs from Jonas and Tim, palm-muted and drop B tuning for that thick, groovy heaviness. Listen closely with quality headphones, there's a subtle industrial hum underneath, like distant machinery grinding souls. John's drums march in with a mid-tempo groove, snare hits crisp and echoing, setting a relentless pace that mirrors the lyrics' inescapable dread.
How can I breathe when my mouth is filled with the ashes, another day lost? Trying to exit the program, I've seen enough to feed the psychosis for a lifetime.
The song's opening wastes no time, beginning immediately with Decay. The imagery of dust and ashes is a classic, almost biblical evocation of mortality, setting a grim stage for the verse to come. The first line is a question that serves as its own verdict. How can I sleep? This isn't just a plea against insomnia, it's a rejection of peace in the face of overwhelming catastrophe. For the protagonist, our narrator, our witness, the very concept of rest has been corrupted. Sleep is no longer a sanctuary, it has become a grave. The reason for this torment is where the horror truly unfolds, when everybody else turns to dust. This phrase is a masterclass in layered meaning. On one level, it's the cry of a survivor in a post-apocalyptic world, a theme that echoes throughout the album. On a deeper historical level, it's the silent scream of the Gulag officer watching his prisoners' lives get systematically erased. Ultimately, it poses a chilling existential question about the fleeting nature of humanity itself, transforming personal grief into species-wide survivors' guilt. The line, "When everyone else turns to dust," immediately paints a picture of an apocalyptic loss, a crumbling world where life is the ephemeral. On the surface, it describes the literal disintegration of existence. Digging deeper, however, it speaks to a profound existential dread, the feeling of watching others fall, metaphorically or literally, while you remain cursed with awareness. This isn't merely about mourning, it's survivor's guilt, amplified by the planetary scale. The very act of breathing becomes corrupted, as if one is suffocated by ash. Imagine being the lone witness after a catastrophe, carrying the remains of the dead in your own lungs. The singer doesn't simply observe death, he ingests it, making the listener complicit. Every breath becomes a grim reminder of what has been lost. The sonic foundation is crucial in conveying this dread. The initial guitar riff isn't just heavy, it has a rhythmic, almost hypnotic quality, like the relentless march of fate. The guitars enter with a low, grinding crawl, while the thick bass provides a solid, unsettling foundation. John Alfredson's drums add a steady heartbeat-like thump, a lone pulse in a dying world, giving gravity to each syllable uttered. The production details enhances atmosphere. On headphones, you can hear Tobias Lindell's mix, layering a distant reverb under the vocals, giving the singer's voice the quality of someone speaking in a burnt-out cathedral. This subtle choice makes the apocalyptic imagery bleed directly into the soundscape, fully immersing the listener into the decay.
How can I breathe when my mouth is filled with the ashes?
This is a visceral and horrifying image that goes beyond simple suffocation to the act of consuming the aftermath of loss. The ashes are not just physical remnants, but the emotional and psychological residue of the tragedy. The narrator is forced to literally ingest the consequences, creating a powerful metaphor for being choked by grief, memory, and the sheer weight of what has been lost. There is no escape. The tragedies become part of their very being.
Another day lost, trying to exit the program.
The line, "Another day lost," immediately establishes a sense of repetition and cyclical suffering. This is followed by the profoundly intriguing concept of trying to exit the program. The phrase hints at a desire for an escape that transcends the immediate moment. It's a yearning for the oblivion, a wish to simply log off from the entire framework of existence. This isn't just about feeling trapped, it's about recognizing the prison walls. Sonically, the slight tempo drag on the word lost before the renewed attack on trying to exit subtly reinforces the feeling of resignation followed by futile effort. The central metaphor of the program is crucial and can be interpreted on multiple levels. It could be 1. Life itself, or a dystopian reality. 2. A mental loop of trauma, a lifetime psychosis from which one cannot move on. The speaker is both victim and prisoner, locked in an endless replay of carnage. 3. Societal brainwashing, or the inescapable program of an atrocity and a totalitarian system. 4. A meta-commentary on the relentless grind of the music industry. Ultimately, the lyrics paints a powerful picture of hopelessness. The speaker is trapped, whether by external forces or their own mental software, and is acutely aware that every attempt to break free only leads to another day lost.
Am I seen enough to feed the psychosis for a lifetime?
And there it is, the breaking point. The sheer volume of suffering witnessed has fundamentally altered the narrator's mind. Psychosis is not just a casual descriptor, it suggests complete break from reality. A profound mental illness brought on by the exposure to unimaginable horrors. The phrase "for a lifetime" solidifies this as a permanent scar, an inescapable consequence. This powerfully evokes the lasting trauma seen in veterans or abuse survivors suffering from PTSD. The band builds this tension masterfully. Johannes and Tim's guitars weave a dense, unsettling soundscape, while Henrik's bass grounds it with a heavy, crushing weight. The music makes it feel like as if the walls are closing in, preparing the listener for the explosive refrain. The vocal delivery mirrors this mental snap. The voice escalates into an almost operatic scream with a noticeable pitch shift, as the bass rumbles underneath like an earthquake when screaming the word "lifetime." What do you think the program truly represents in this context? Chapter 3. The Refrain, a Desperate Plea. After the gut punch of the first verse, we are slammed into the raw primal scream of the refrain. Simple but piercing, it shifts the track's momentum as the guitars drop to a sustained chord, creating a stark space for the vocal punch. Just 2 words, but they carry the entire weight of the preceding verse. This refrain is both an invocation and an accusation. Who or what is this entity? A corrupted guardian angel? A fallen savior? Or perhaps a personification of the narrator's own fractured innocence? The prefix bloody suggests violence, pain, sacrifice, and compliancy. It's a cry for intervention, a desperate call to something powerful yet tainted. On the surface, it acts as a ritual chant. Underneath, it's a thesis statement. Even our ideals, our angels, cannot emerge clean from the slaughterhouse of existence. The bloody angel could be a death, judgment, or self-forgiveness personified, stained by the narrator's sins. Some fans even connect it to historical figures like Joseph Mengele, the angel of death. Johannes' guttural delivery is chilling. His voice tears through the heavy instrumentation like a raw nerve exposed. It's both a plea and an accusation, echoing into the void. Listen closely on headphones and you can hear the slight reverb tail on Angel, making it feel like a shout into the vast empty hall, while a sharp cymbal crash drives the urgency. This refrain is the hook that lodges in your brain, a thematic anchor for the entire song. Ever felt like calling out to your own bloody angel? Chapter 4, Verse 2, The Inescapable Past. If the first verse established the present torment, the second pulls us into the genesis of pain, revealing a past that clings like a shroud. To match this thematic shift, verse 2 ramps up the musical intensity. Pitch squeals from the guitars that cut like knives, while the bass locks in tighter, creating a groove that's almost danceable in its menace.
When it starts, this force is too strong to resist. Where is too far? All I did was try to save them, haunted by screams, chasing me back to my childhood. I cannot flee. I've got tormentors for a lifetime.
The verse opens with the diagnostic question, when did it start? Reflecting a futile search for the origin of this suffering. The narrator immediately acknowledges their helplessness, admitting this force is too strong to resist. It's an admission of being completely overwhelmed, not by weakness, but by an insurmountable tide, whether that's destiny, an internal compulsion, or the seductive pull of a destructive ideology. The music perfectly captures this sense of crushing weight. The intensity pulls back from the refrain into a groove-oriented riff thick with tension. The guitars adopt a heavier, sludgy feel, with a prominent bass line provides a throbbing pulse of inevitability, underscoring the lyrics' theme of a force that cannot be escaped. This isn't about weakness, it's about facing an insurmountable tide. The guitars, though less overtly aggressive than the refrain, carry a heavier, almost sludgy feel, emphasizing the crushing weight of this irresistible force. The bass line here is particularly prominent, a throbbing pulse of inevitability.
Resist, where is too far? All I did was try to save them, haunted by...
This is a heartbreaking and deeply ironic confession. The question, where is too far, implies a moral boundary has been crossed. Yet it's followed by a desperate plea of self-justification. All I did was try to save them. This line immediately twists our perception. Was their attempt to save a failure? Did it lead to the very deaths they spoke of earlier? Or is it a lament that their efforts were simply not enough against an overwhelming destructive force? The paradox of good intentions leading to horrific outcomes is a recurring theme in tragedy. The phrasing implies a desperate self-justification, a plea for understanding in the face of immense guilt. The drumming here has a more syncopated feel, almost a frantic rhythm, reflecting the inner turmoil. But a more sinister interpretation lurks beneath. In the context of historical atrocities, saving can be a euphemism for control or even euthanasia. This transforms the line from a simple lament into a chilling rationalization, twisting a benevolent act into something monstrous. The music reflects this inner turmoil. A slight pause from the drums creates a moment of vulnerability before a frantic, syncopated rhythm kicks in, mirroring the narrator's guilt and chaotic state of mind.
To save them, haunted by screams, chasing me back to my childhood. I
The
cannot...
past isn't just a memory, it's a living, breathing tormentor. The line, haunted by screams, suggests traumatic events whose echoes refuse to fade, but the most poignant detail here is how they are chasing me back to my childhood. This reveals the deep-seated nature of the trauma rooted in formative years. The suffering isn't new, it's a regression, an ancient wound being re-triggered, which corrupts innocence retroactively. This personalizes the apocalypse, showing that the global catastrophe is mirrored by an inner, deeply intimate one, a cycle of pain that perhaps explains the earlier mention of the program. This regression could be interpreted as a narrator's own youthful ideals being shattered by what they've witnessed, or even a commentary on how child abuse can cycle into adult violence. The music mastery reflects this psychological horror. The low-end rumble from the bass feels like a physical chase, while dissonant chords and bending guitar notes add to the unease. As Johannes' vocals take center stage to convey a raw, almost childlike fear, the guitars swell into a higher, more melodic climb. This creates a chilling tension between brutality and beauty, reflecting how memories of childhood can sound sweet while hiding the rot beneath.
I cannot flee, I've got tormentors for lifetime.
On the surface, this lyric suggests a perpetual pursuit. Hidden deeper, it portrays internal demons as eternal jailers. The line is in a chilling echo of the first verse's psychosis for a lifetime, but now specified as tormentors. These aren't just abstract fears, they are active, persecuting entities, whether internal or external. The narrator is trapped, unable to escape the psychological shackles, reinforcing the idea of a permanent inescapable fate, a life sentence of torment. Musically, the band becomes a wall of sound. The guitars are thick and roaring, and the drum fills roll like thunder. The vocals are multi-tracked and layered in a course of agony, as if the tormentors themselves are musically manifesting and closing in. Do you think the scream from the childhood is metaphorical or literal? How does that change your interpretation, and when did your force begin? Chapter 5. The Chorus, Discovery and Despair. This is where the emotional core of the song truly reveals itself, a moment of tragic discovery and universal lament. The chorus explodes into melody as the bloody angel returns, but this time with an urgent imperative. Come, bloody angel, break off your chains. The music shifts accordingly. Guitars move to a powerful open chords, and the vocals become clean and anthemic, with backing harmonies adding depth. This change implies that the narrative itself is imprisoned, bound by something, unable to act. Is the narrator calling for mutual liberation, or is it an appeal for the angel to free itself first, so it can then intervene? This suggests that the angel, too, is suffering, perhaps a victim of the same destructive force that plagues the narrator. The musicality here is phenomenal. The guitars open up, creating a vast, almost cathedral-like sonic space, while still retaining their crushing weight. The melody is catchy, yet imbued with a profound sadness. It's a call to arms, but an anguished one. The lines, "And look what I found in the dirt, pale, battered body," mark a chilling shift into the song's narrative. This gruesome discovery grounds the story into a physical, tangible horror, with the stark, brutal imagery of pale, battered body, making any preceding abstract loss feel chillingly real. It's no longer just an idea, it's a specific, tragic death. This narrative pivot is reinforced by the accompanying audio cues. A slight drop in melody and a somber guitar progression emphasize the weight of the discovery. The rhythm section momentarily tightens, as if it's a breath holding with the narrator, while the vocal tone, though still powerful, carries one of a more despair and weary resignation. On the surface, the lyrics, "It seems she was struggling," describes finding a victim. However, this moment is layered with a symbolic meaning. The body can be seen as a symbol of innocence destroyed, while she, serving as a metaphor for humanity itself or a specific tragic loss, as some interpretations suggest in the context of concentration camps. Alternatively, it could be a childhood discovery of murder, as some fans suggest. This is perhaps the song's most cinematic moment, creating a stark image reminiscent of a battlefield aftermath. This discovery is juxtaposed with the song's other powerful symbols, like a chained angel, representing repression and divine punishment, who is bound and silenced by humanity's violence. The body in the dirt is the ultimate consequence. This all culminates into the deceptively simple line, "Something is wrong with this world." This statement functions as both a profound understatement and a stark indecisive. After painting a picture of such a visual horror, the line is delivered cold and detached, like a doctor giving a terminal diagnosis. Chapter 6. Post-Chorus, The Lingering Echo. Just when you think the chorus has delivered its final blow, the post-chorus acts as a haunting echo, a punctuation mark of anguish, reinforcing with a single line and the guitar sustaining for drama. Same as the refrain, but the post-chorus hits harder, like an aftershock. Again, the cry, Bloody Angel. This isn't a fresh plea, but a lingering, a desperate incantation. It's the name of a tormentor, the savior, the question, the answer, all rolled into one. It reverberates a constant reminder of pain and mystery. The simplicity of these two words, repeated after the intricate despair of the chorus, drives home the inescapable nature of this central figure or concept. Sonically, it's a return to the more aggressive, almost tribal pounding, keeping the listener firmly in their grip of the song's dark narrative. The sustained chord at the end of this section leaves a ringing, unresolved tension. The vocals add an echo effect, fading into the next section. Chapter 7, Verse 3, The Cost of Existence. We delve deeper into the narrator's personal sacrifice and the profound sense of loss that defines their existence. Verse 3 mirrors their earlier structure with a heightened urgency. Guitars add tremolo, picking for tension, bass slides for unease.
But I know I'm willing to give it away. All that I love is a mere like sand in the ocean. Remember the lights, lost weathered withering pictures trying to hide, but I see tragedies through a lifetime.
A staggering offer. The narrator is willing to surrender his very knowledge, his understanding of the world in exchange for what? Peace? Reversal of the horrors? It speaks to a profound weariness, a desire to be unburdened by the terrible truths they possess. This isn't just about material possessions, it's about identity, wisdom, accumulated experience, all rendered worthless by the weight of suffering. The guitar tone here is slightly less distorted, allowing the individual notes to resonate with a clearer, more poignant timbre. The bass line walks a more melodic path, underscoring the introspective nature of these lyrics.
All that I love is a mere like sand in the ocean.
This line captures the heart of the narrator's tragedy. All that I love, their relationships, joys, and sources of comfort are gone, irreversibly lost. The simile, disappeared like sand in the ocean, is a powerful image of utter dissolution, suggesting that everything cherished has become absorbed and erased by a vast, indifferent, and annihilating force. This isn't just disappearance, it's entropy made poetic, where love and memory dissolve into the moment they're touched. The music masterfully reflects the theme. Johannes' vocals become more vulnerable, carrying heavy, almost choked emotion, while a sparser drum gives more space to the aching melody. Attentive listeners might notice a faint tremolo picking in the guitars, like grains of sand spilling, while the production mix itself gives this sound fading edges and dissolving tone. This sonically paints a metaphor of the ephemeral nature of bonds in a chaotic world.
Remember the lights, lost weathered withering pictures.
This line speaks to the fragility of memory and the secondary loss that occurs when reminiscences of those who are gone begin to fade. The withering pictures evokes old photographs losing their color and detail, a physical manifestation of memory's erosion. This is the agony of watching the images of the deceased decay, threatening to erase them entirely. In this context, remembering the lives becomes a desperate, frantic act of preservation through a tide of obliviation. The music reinforces this desperation as the rhythm quickens into a frantic attempt to holding on to something before it disappears. The photographers themselves symbolize a failed attempt to preserve, like decaying camp records or forgotten portraits of victims. They cannot save the subject from decay. Instead, they can only preserve the agony of remembering, proving that even memory rots.
Trying to hide, but I see tragedies through a lifetime.
This is the ultimate confession as the inescapable truth. The narrator's attempt to hide is futile. There's no escaping the horrors they have witnessed. In the final line, Tragedies through a Lifetime serves as a powerful culmination, echoing the earlier themes of lifetime psychosis and tormentors. It cements the theme of life stepped into sorrow and unavoidable destiny of witnessing and enduring. The music powerfully supports this climax. The vocals build to a pre-bridge intensity while the drums shift to a heavy, halftime pattern, adding immense weight to the confession. The band unleashes a sonic wave that sweeps the listener into an inevitable refrain, leaving no room for denial. Now think for a moment. How does the imagery of sand in the ocean and withering pictures contribute to the song's overall themes of loss and impermanence? Chapter 8. Bridge, Accusation and Inevitability. The bridge is a pivotal moment, a stark shift from the lament to a direct accusation, and then a chilling statement of universal fate. The bridge is where this all unravels. Tempo slows and crescendos, guitars go full distortion, drums with tribal toms, vocals from whisper to roar.
Here's bloody angel, the blood is on your hands. Why did you come to this world? Everybody turns to dust. Everybody turns to the blood is on your hands. The blood is on your hands.
Fierce bloody angel. The angel is no longer just bloody from suffering but fierce, implying a capacity for cruelty or destructive power. This direct accusation, the blood is on your hands, is a profound moment. Is the angel responsible for the suffering? Is it an agent of destruction or simply a complicit by its presence or inaction? The question, why did you come to this world, is an existential challenge, questioning the very purpose of the seemingly divine yet tainted entity. This section sounds utterly crushing. The guitars are down-tuned and thick, creating a palpable sense of dread. The drumming is powerful but measured, each hit feeling like a hammered blow. The raw, almost guttural quality of Johannes' voice during this section is captivating, delivering the accusation with venom and despair.
Everybody turns to dust. Everybody turns to
This is where the mask slips. The angel is not just a savior, perhaps it's the narrator himself, or humanity as a whole. We are both the angel and the executioner. The hands that were meant to heal are drenched in blood. From this realization comes the echoing mantra, everybody turns to dust. The stark, inescapable truth returns, now delivered with a chilling detachment. The repetition of this line acts as a macabre sermon or an endless funeral bell, a universal law of decay and annihilation. It's a reminder of futility, the ultimate equalizer. The parenthetical repetition often seen in lyrics suggests a layered vocal effect, like a Greek chorus reinforcing the omnipresence of this grim reality. Sonically, this section is relentless, with an almost mechanical groove that pounds the message into your skull, while layered vocals apply the dread.
the blood is on your hands. The blood is on your hands.
The accusation returns 4 times, each repetition driving the point deeper with increasing intensity. The shift from a question, why did you come, to a direct undeniable statement, the blood is on your hands, signifies a moment of grim certainty. The angel is irrevocably implicited. This isn't just a lament, it's a condemnation. This segment of the bridge is pure, unadulterated aggression. The guitar work becomes faster, more frantic, and almost a flurry of distorted notes, while the drums are a relentless assault. The vocal delivery is, at most, it's powerful, a primal scream of anger and betrayal. The sheer volume and sonic density here are overwhelming, a chaotic climax of this accusation. Who or what do you think the Bloody Angel truly represents in this final accusation? The divine? Humanity itself? Let me know. Chapter 9. The Final Course, Closing the Coffin. When the course returns, it feels less like a plea and more like a resignation. The angel has been called, but nothing changes. The world is still wrong, the body is still in the dirt, the chains still rattle. By the end, Johannes screams, Bloody Angel, repeatedly. Not as a question, not as an invocation, but as an epitaph. It's the last stone thrown onto the coffin. We circle back to the course, now fully unleashed, full band synergy with the ad-lib flourishes from Johannes. Chapter 10. Overall Themes and Theatrical Impact. So, what have we unearthed in this bloody excavation? Bloody Angel is a complex tapestry woven from several profound themes. 1. Existential guilt and witnessing, the burden of seeing overwhelming suffering and feeling helpless or even complicit. 2. Irreversible loss, the persuasive sense that everything loved and known can disappear in an instant. 3. The cycle of trauma, how past horrors inform and fuel present torment, creating a seemingly inescapable prison. 4. Questioning benevolence, the blurring lines between a savior and a perpetrator, embodied in the ambiguous Bloody Angel. Is it a fallen deity, a corrupted guardian, or a metaphor for our own internal struggle? 5. Universal despair, the song transcends personal grief to an indicate of a broken world, a reality where struggle and dust are the only certainties. Avatar, through their meticulous songwriting and Tobias Lindell's sharp production, crafts a soundscape that mirrors his lyrical journey. The dynamic shifts from a groove-laden verses to anthemic choruses. The subtle changes in guitar tone, the precise strumming that inoculates both dread and accusation, it all serves to amplify the narrative. They don't just tell a story, they make you feel the protagonist's psychosis, the weight of the ashes, and the despair of discovery. Pulling it all together, Bloody Angel is an ode to guilt's carnival. On the surface, it's a scream of a personal torment, but hidden beneath are echoes of historical atrocities. Yet, its meaning expands further. It could represent a battle with mental health, a commentary on the environmental decay, or even a meta-statement on the burdens of fame. The theatrical of Avatar isn't just an aesthetic, it's intricately linked to the storytelling, turning these profound concepts into a visceral experience. What hidden meanings did you uncover? Let me know. Chapter 11. The Sonic Autopsy. Sonically, this track is a masterclass in dynamics, meticulously sculpted by producer Tobias Lindell. The core of its power lies in a stark contrast. The crunchy, down-tuned groove riffs, Think in Flames meets Rammstein, are pitted against the soaring melodic courses. This duality is no accident. It sonically mirrors the song's central theme of human ugliness clashing with angelic aspiration. Lindell sculpted a wall of sound that is both industrial and theatrical, perfectly staging Avatar's apocalypse. But the true genius is hidden in the nuances. The layers of unease bloom in high-quality headphones where you can hear micro details like ghost notes, snares at around the 214 mark, and the subtle harmonic squeals under the main riff. These are not mistakes, they are the texture of violence embedded deep in the mix to make the experience truly visceral. Chapter 12. Conclusion. The lingering question. So, what is Bloody Angel? A savior who failed? Humanity's potential ruin? Or is it simply a mirror, each of us, drenched in the blood of our ancestors, inheriting cycles of violence? Bloody Angel leaves us not with answers, but with a profound lingering question about the nature of good, evil, and our place in the world that constantly turns to dust. It's a profound testament to Avatar's mastery of their craft, cementing their place not just as musicians, but as essential storytellers in the annals of heavy metal. The song is a journey into the heart of darkness, and Avatar are unsettling charismatic guides. What do you think? Is the angel a fallen guardian, a metaphor for trauma, or perhaps a performer trapped in a role written by history? Again, thank you to Spicy White Mustard for recommending this fan request. If you have any, let me know in the comments down below. My name's Doctor Electro of the Electro Company. You just watched the first episode of my fan request series. I'll catch you in the next one.